think all the clergy should be on the screen, no?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to another Friday full of activities. We have a wonderful Shabbat planned ahead of us. Our service is full of surprises, and tonight we have a dear guest coming back to us virtually, and that's Dan Nichols, who is singing from North Carolina tonight, and it's part of Camp Shabbat. It's coordinated by our educator, Barb Shemansky, who will be taking an integral role in tonight's program. It is great to see all of you. We're celebrating the Newman Simcha. We wish Stella Mazal Tov on her bat mitzvah tomorrow afternoon. This Sunday, we have our mini Kavanah retreat. We hope you can join us. As always, we encourage you to go to our website at tbsmb.org to see all the different activities that we have. Cantor starting a musical series next month. Purim is next month. So, on that note, I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. We hope you have a relaxing Shabbat, and thank you for joining us. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Shabbat services at Temple Beth Shalom. Tonight we have such a creative and exciting Shabbat service, focusing our attention on Jewish camping. Our synagogue places such a high priority on Jewish camping, especially for our Union of Reform Judaism camps, because of the transformative impact that Jewish camping makes on Jewish lives. We joyfully recruit and also provide scholarships for Jewish camps because we so strongly believe in it. This week, our Torah portion is known as Beshalach, and in it we have the miraculous parting of the Sea of Reeds and the Israelites' bold journey forth from Egypt. Our ancestors were transformed by this passage they made, which required them to leave everything that was familiar behind and venture forth with promise in hearts. This is the same thing we encourage our students to do each summer. Going to camp requires leaving the comfort of home to make new friends, explore new places, and learn new things about themselves and their Jewish souls. I often think about how Camp Coleman, where I went from the ages of 9 to 18, and where I met Cantor Siegel, was a place of awakening and transformation for me, leading me ultimately to choose to become a rabbi. The skills, love for being Jewish, and friendship that is learned at camp truly endures for a lifetime. I want to express my gratitude to Barb Shemansky, to Seth Cohen, our class fellow, and to Rabbi Joanne Loibin, who put this service together with so much love in their hearts, and give a very special welcome and shout out to Jewish composer and musician Dan Nichols, who is joining us once again tonight as he was with us last year for our Camp Shabbat. He will lift us through his music on this Shabbat Shirah, on this Sabbath of Song, and give us a small taste of how Jewish souls are made at Jewish camp. And now it is my great joy and pleasure to welcome our bat mitzvah, Stella Newman, and her family to lead us in the kindling of the Shabbat candles and the brachot.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlek ner shel Shabbat. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
And now Rob will introduce the Kiddush.
Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Boker, Yom Hashishi. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
And Stella will lead us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'bratzon, hinhanu zikaron lema'aseh bereishit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikraye kodesh. Zeher litiat mitzrayim, kivanu baharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, ve'el shabbat kodecha be'ava uvratzon hinhaltanu, baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hal Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Newman family, and Mazel Tov, Stella. It is now my pleasure and honor to introduce our URJ camp directors of our regional Camp Coleman and our specialty camps, Sports, Creative Arts, and SciTech, to tell us a bit about what Shabbat is like at their camps.
Shabbat at the Creative Arts Academy is created by the community for the community. We start Fridays in tie-dye, affectionately known as Tie-Dye Friday, and change into our Shabbat whites, which allows us to express both our individuality and come together as one community. Each week, campers choose an arts discipline and craft an artistic response to a prayer or blessing. We even write a 6-minute musical each week based on the Torah portion. We come together, offer Shabbat to one another through these artistic expressions, which allows us all to take a deep breath and shift gears from the busy week. It is definitely one of our favorite parts of camp.
Number one, that's what a lot of people say. It's their number one memory from Camp Coleman days in the summer. Dressed in white, heading up toward the dining room. We're all marching for Shabbat walk. Beautiful sight. Gathering for tefillah services, looking over Lake Shalom. I love telling a story to the community. Been doing that since I arrived here in '92. It's one of my favorite parts of camp, just being there in that chapel.
Shabbat at 6 Point Sports Academy is incredibly meaningful. After working all week on our sports majors, it is a time for us to dress in white and begin our Shabbat walk, where we join together as one community. We don't go to the synagogue. We instead, as Jewish athletes, go to the Holy Stadium. And there we celebrate being Jewish, being together. We love Shabbat at camp and think you will too.
The feeling of Shabbat at SciTech actually begins early on Friday. Fridays are Express Yourself Day, where campers and staff can wear bright and colorful clothing that represents the different parts of their identity, what country they come from, their favorite teams, or even nerd cultures they love. We spend the day celebrating the individuality of our community, and by the time we arrive at our Kabbalat Shabbat circle on the main lawn, everyone has changed into white clothing, this time symbolizing the oneness of our community. We recognize that it takes both unique and curious individuals and the feeling of interconnectivity to make our SciTech Kehila Kedosha feel whole.
Adonai, yai lai lai la la la, Naharia, yai lai 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 la, Letzor Ishenu, yai lai lai la la la. Let us sing out to God, maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu niranena, yai lai 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 la, la Adonai, yai lai lai la la la, Naharia, yai lai 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 la. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Adonai, yai lai lai la la la, Naharia, yai lai 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 la, Letzor Ishenu, yai lai lai la la la, yai lai lai la la la, yai lai lai la la la.
Shabbat Shalom. So this year, as JLab was virtual, we had multiple opportunities for our partners from 4URJ camps to Zoom into JLab and become guest facilitators in our classes on Saturday mornings, on Wednesday afternoon in some of our workshops, and on Monday evenings with our Gesher Middle School children. So tonight, during the service, you will see some offerings that our students have prepared for this Shabbat experience. Some of them are directly connected to things that they've learned while they were able to study with representatives from our camps, and some were done a little bit outside of that learning, but in the spirit of a Camp Shabbat experience. So throughout the evening, you will see various offerings from our JLab students. So we hope you enjoy and that adds to the joy of Shabbat.
יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה, לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, היא השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושימו תפארת ולתהילה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. As we prepare for Baruch Hu, the call to worship, my question for myself this Shabbat, and I invite you to ask yourself, is what this Shabbat can you be called to beyond just this moment, but in your own life, in your own relationships with yourself, with the people around you, and with the Holy One? What will you be called to? La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
No matter which of the amazing camps you choose and you belong to, they are all unified as part of one community, as part of one Kehillah Kadoshah, one spiritual community. We sing out together tonight our call for unity with the Shema. It is now my pleasure and honor to call back up our bat mitzvah, Stella, to lead us in Shema and Ve'ahavta.
Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ata et Adonai Elohecha, et kol levamcha, u'kol nafshecha, u'kol meotecha, v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha bebetecha, u'v'lechtecha b'derech, u'b'shoftecha, u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Leman tizkeru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lehem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Rabbi Ed Feinstein tells a story, and he says it was actually easy for the Jews to get out of Egypt. What has actually been the hardest part is for the Egypt to get out of the Jews. And that makes me want to ask a few questions. If that's true, what am I still a slave to? And what would it take to set me free? And how would that make me feel? מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. What I'm going to read for you now is called A Different Type of Prayer, and the author is unknown. Eternal One, help us remember that the jerk who cut us off in traffic last night is a single mother who worked 9 hours that day and was rushing home to cook dinner, help with the homework, do the laundry, and spend a few precious moments with her children. Help us to remember that the pierced, tattooed, disinterested young man who can't make change correctly is a worried 19-year-old college student, balancing his apprehension over final exams with his fear of not getting his student loans for next semester. Remind us that the scary-looking bum begging for money in the same spot every day who really ought to get a job is a slave to addictions that we can only imagine in our worst nightmares. Help us to remember that the old couple walking annoyingly slow through the store aisles and blocking our shopping progress are savoring this moment, knowing that based on the biopsy report she got back last week, this will be the last year that they go shopping together. Eternal One, remind us each day that of all the gifts you give us, the greatest gift is love. It's not enough to share that love with those we hold dear. Open our hearts not just to those who are close to us, but to all humanity. Let us be slow to judgment and quick to forgiveness and patience and empathy and love. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, לחיים, לחיים.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Seth Cohen, and I am the class fellow here at Temple Beth Shalom. To add another acronym to your Jewish lingo, CLASS stands for Camp, Leadership, and Synagogue Professional. A large part of my role here at TBS is to connect our families with our amazing URJ camps. I myself have firsthand experience at one of these camps, like Rabbi Pomerantz and Cantor Siegel, spending 4 amazing summers at URJ Camp Coleman. It was at Camp Coleman that I made new friends that have lasted up until this very day and explored and learned many new things. It is ultimately an experience that has led me to my role at TBS today. Earlier this school year, our 2nd through 5th grade J-Lab students were visited by a member of Camp Coleman, and they learned about the value of chesed, or kindness, a value of which Camp Coleman is built around. And now we're going to hear from these students about what they learned.
Chesed is when you're being kind, nice, caring. It might be donating your time to help others. It's doing what you can do to help. That's what Chesed is. I learned about Chesed. It means it's different than an act of kindness because you could get for an act of kindness, you could give someone something, but an act of Chesed could mean you give something from your heart. So Chesed is an act of kindness, and it is a step forward from holding a door for someone or packing something for someone. That Chesed means is an act of kindness, and it's not if somebody is you go to their door when they move in or something and they're new, and you say if you want to help them unpack, or let's say they're hungry from their long journey, you could go to your house and find some snack that you could bring them. Showed Chesed when Amelia fell at recess, and I tried to help her, and I asked her if she was okay. My sister fell down the stairs, and I took care of her. I gave her an ice pack, and I put a Band-Aid on her. One of my neighbors now moved in, and I wanted to meet her, but we were both shy. So, a few days later, I made friends with her, and then I brought her muffins. Last year on Halloween, before COVID started, I got a candy that my friend really wanted. I didn't like the candy that much, and she really liked it, so I gave it to her. She was happy, so that made me happy because we're friends.
We open our Amidah with this beautiful kavanah to set our intention as we prepare to be in the presence of Adonai. Adonai, sifatai tivtach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. As my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Himahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Neihem L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lahoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Ve'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Bichamocha Baal Gevurot U'Mido Melach Melech Memid U'Mechayeh U'Matmiach Yeshua V'Nemanat Halachayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehalalucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We take the remaining moments of the Amidah for the prayers of our own hearts.
Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera. Oh my God, watch over me. Take the hurt away from how I speak. Only love flows from you. May every word I speak be true. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera. When words are thrown, I'll hold my tongue and breathe the air of songs I've sung. That refrain I'll repeat. There's more to you than only me. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera. Elohai Netzor Lishoni Mera. Usfatai midaber mirma. ולמקל אלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כפר לכל תהיה. Hi na na, hi na na na, hi na na, hi na na na, hi na na, hi na na na, hi na na, hi na na na.
Shabbat Shalom. I miss camp. Especially after tonight, I miss camp so much. I miss being in nature, gathered together, surrounded by a couple hundred of my closest Jewish friends, pounding on tables in the dining hall, dressing up for themed nights, stargazing and contemplating life late into the evening. I miss days that feel like weeks and weeks that fly by. I miss that feeling that nothing else matters and nothing exists outside of our beloved camp community. I miss the closeness of that community and the chance to live and breathe Jewish values with Jewish friends day in and day out. I miss trying new things in a safe environment and the opportunity to be myself, judgment-free, as silly or as serious as I feel. I miss camp. I miss so many things about camp. But what I miss most of all is song session. The moment when the community goes wild, when everyone is jumping up and down in unison, screaming lyrics in English and Hebrew with hand motions to match, sweat dripping down smiling faces as a reverberating joy can be seen, heard, and felt. The energy is palpable. The pulse of the music becomes the communal pulse as a group of individuals become one. The peak camp experience is song session. Long before it was cool to be camping, we were camping in the desert. While Jewish camp is largely identified with the North American Jewish experience, our ancestors camped, not for a 4-week-long session, but 40 years. In this week's Parsha, B'Shalach, Moses was the first camp director and Aaron the first unit head. There were no cabins and no indoor plumbing. Camp food was not like the Shabbat chicken and apple brown Betty today. Instead, it was a flaky substance that fell from the heavens. The energy wasn't quite there as the Israelites crossed the Red Sea. The camp session had started, and yet the camp spirit, the ruach that made individuals into community, wasn't there either. There needed to be something to enhance their ruach and solidify their communal experience. And just as the waters crashed back down, the text says, "Then Miriam, the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her in dance with timbrels." Miriam, our first song leader, led our first song session. Miriam used music to bring our people together spiritually. Her song and dance created what would become camp culture. I believe it was this moment of celebration in song when the Hebrew slaves let out their loud cries for newborn freedom and became the nation of Israel. And we can still feel their excitement in our hearts today, thousands of years later, as we sing Debbie Friedman's song on the top of our lungs, jumping for joy during song session. This tradition of communal celebration in song has transcended the generations and continues to keep us together as a Jewish community. And this community transcends camp. As we heard throughout services tonight, and we will continue to hear if you join us after for our very own song session at the Oneg, These melodies are now part of the way that we worship. Cantor Siegel spoke so beautifully last week about how Debbie Friedman's music can be heard from Jews of all types around the world. And just yesterday, I was talking to my friends who happen to be Orthodox, who are huge fans of our special guest, Dan Nichols, and recently tuned in to a Zoom song session with their friends around the globe as he brought together their camp community. And we so appreciate Dan joining us tonight to bring us together and raise our ruach. And what a perfect night for Camp Shabbat, on Shabbat Shirah, our special Shabbat of song. This Shabbat, we make Shirat Hayam, the song of the sea, into Shirat Hayom, our song of the day, as generations later, we are still singing. We are continuously reminded to remember that we were once slaves in Egypt, and tonight we remember that we were once singing together in the desert as we began our journey as one people. I hope that this Shabbat is filled with reasons to sing out for joy, to sing songs of freedom and blessings for all of us. Shabbat Shalom. And just as we use song to cry out for joy, we also use song to come together to bring us hope and healing. If you are thinking of someone this evening in your family, friends, or anyone in the community who is in need of healing, please feel free to say their names. You can either write them in any chat box, Zoom or Facebook, or if you are joining us from the Zoom room tonight, you can actually unmute yourselves at this moment and say their name out loud so that we can pray together as one community for a refuah shlema, their complete healing.
Eileen Udy.
Stella Curtis, Haley Newman.
Ryder David Furlong.
Joseph Elkanon.
Behold their names in our hearts as we pray together, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And just as we come together in community for hope and healing, we also come together to celebrate joy and simcha. If you have something that you are celebrating with us this evening, please feel free to put that celebration in either the Facebook chat or the Zoom chat, and you can also feel free to add your favorite camp memory if you have any camp memories, because we would love to celebrate camp together tonight as well. So we come together in community as we celebrate together, Shechianu.
ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. I'm going to sing it again. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Prepare with our closing blessings, beginning with that prayer for unity and peace and a sense of wholeness for all the world with Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
At this point in our service, we turn our hearts and minds to our loved ones who are no longer with us. If you are in a period of mourning, Shiva 1 week, Shloshim a month, Shana a year, or if you are remembering a yard site this evening, please feel free to share those names with us. We think of all of those in our community who have passed in the Shloshim in these 30 days. Tonight we think of Bert Haft, Samuel Weiss, Marlene Green, Harold Corman, Rosalind Singer, Jay Carr, Diana Dorothy Paris Breslov, Ruth Mishan de Dower, Sophia Lambert, Ira Libin, Daniel Nixon, Roz Covins, Albert Pollins, Beatrice Alter, Kalish, and Carlos Garcia. We also think of all of those in our community who have passed and whose names are lovingly inscribed in our alcove of remembrance. We remember Gerald R. Albert, Arlene S. Albin, Mo Blaustein, Clara Reese Bloom, Mark Allen Kanan, Estelle Cohen, George J. Feingold, Ben Frackman, Lynn Friesner, May Oleski Golem, Leon Gropper, Francis L. Hoffman, Norman S. Jaffe, Stephen J. Kogan, Max Kraus, David Edward Lair, Rita Levy, Benjamin Lipschitz, Howard J. Lundy, Sonia Manis, Louis Merwitzer, Sylvia Myers, Anna Miller, Julia Press, Bill Radin, Lester A. Russin, Ellie Siegel, Mo Silvers, Helen Snyder, Sylvia Sonnenrich, Edward Stamler, and Manya Suskin. We also remember those in our community who have died at this time in years past. We remember Betty Adler, Gertrude Beil, Alan Bildner, Wolf Chaplin, Patricia Citrin, Sidney Sin Cohen, Leatrice Dreiling, Nat Eichel, Dorothy Gann, Priva Goldman, Richard Green, Margaret Hartman, Grant Jacobson, Moises Juskowitz, Celia Candle, Eula Lastinger, Abraham Leader, Ray Liflin, Samuel Litz, Ari Lejerner, Maya Lichovsky, Julius McCransky, Helen McElfresh, Barbara Miller, Ruth Meyerson Morheim, Libby Navinger, Shepard Nelson, Edward Ed Nosen, Sonia Nolman, Gordon Okerman, Lee Pathman, Ann Holmes Peterson, Della Provis, Sydney Rosen, Rose Soren, Jaime Tenenbaum, Arlene Vanier, Alicia Weissman, Gerald Wynn, and Evelyn Friedman Zarin. We also think of the more than 6 million men, women, and children who were murdered in the Shoah. We remember all of those lives lost fighting for freedom and liberty here in the United States of America, as well as all of those lives lost so that we can have a homeland in the state of Israel. We think of all of those in our community this evening who are no longer with us. As we recite together Mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yamachon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitramam ve'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Zirchonam levracha, may all of their memories be for us now and forever a blessing. And it is now my honor and pleasure to invite up our board member, Allison Greenfield, for announcements.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I always seem to pick the most wonderful Shabbat services to read announcements, and this one was no different. So I'm really glad that I got to be a part of this one. It was a wonderful, wonderful service. Mazel tov to the Newmans. Stella, you did a wonderful job tonight. I have no doubt you're going to crush it tomorrow morning. I look forward to watching it on Facebook Live. And as a reminder, our viewing platform for Shabbat services includes Zoom. Services will take place via Zoom and are available on Facebook and at tbsmb.org /watch with an oneg immediately following services. Join us tomorrow, Saturday, January 30th, 9:30 a.m. for Torah study via Zoom, and at 10:30 for Shabbat Minyan service via Zoom, TBS Watch, and Facebook Live. Remember to register online for Kavanah, which is a virtual mini retreat featuring the wonderful Sarah Hurwitz, which is on January 31st, 2021. Coming up in February, join Rabbi Davis via Zoom to honor Rabbi Harry Jolt of blessed memory on Wednesday, February 3rd at 5 o'clock. Next, Spiel on Wheels, a drive-through experience on Sunday, February 21st from 10 a.m. to 12 o'clock noon. We've planned a wonderful in-person Purim program that will take place in your cars. Yes, you will drive through the event starting at TBS and ending at North Beach Elementary. You'll meet some of the famous Purim heroes and maybe a villain too, and experience the Purim story. We're taking reservations for social distancing purposes. There are 40 spaces available, so reserve now. For questions, contact Mark Baranek. Next, stay tuned for our fantastic Purim Spiel and Martini Megillah with our clergy and staff on Thursday, February 25th at 7:30 p.m. A reminder that PACT is looking for 100 attendees for this year's Nehemiah Action. For more information on PACT and to see how to get involved, email pact@tbsmb.org. And finally, for information about the usual opportunities, remember to check our weekly email or website at www.tbsmb.org, and be sure to check our website for a complete schedule of study opportunities. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Thank you, Allison. And one last reminder to be sure to join us on Zoom after services for a song session with Dan Nichols and an opportunity to speak with representatives of all 4 of the camps featured tonight to hear from them and learn more about camp. So we've heard, speaking of camps, we've heard from all these directors of these camps, and we've seen contributions to our service inspired by these camps. But now it's time to hear from our very own TBS campers, all of whom this past summer unfortunately lost a summer of camp because of COVID-19. Yet despite that summer away from camp, their love and passion of camp did not diminish. Yet it was strengthened and enhanced, and that love grew even more. So now, here are some TBS campers to tell you why they're excited to go back to camp year after year.
So I went to 6 Points Camp, and it really instilled the values that I still use today, such as teamwork, and just like built a social structure that I can still live around today. I'm still in contact with most of my friends that I went to with there, and one of them actually goes to my school. I'm still friends with him. So yeah, it's pretty nice, and it's a really good experience for anyone who wants to go.
What I love most about SciTech is that it just has a really deep sense of family. Everyone there is really connected and supportive of each other, and it's just a wonderful place to be because of it. I really, really can't wait to come back this summer.
I like CEA because I get to be with people that love arts as much as I do. As someone who doesn't play sports a lot, it's nice to have a group of friends that aren't fixated on the latest football games and whatnot. I remember being really ecstatic when I first learned that there was going to be an Art Center URJ camp, and I must say, it felt like a completely different experience that year. So I've returned every year since.
Camp Coleman has been my home for over 7 years. It's a place where I can be myself 100% of the time. The friends you make there aren't just friends, they're more like family. They always find something you will love. And it's just the most incredible place ever. It's a place like no other.
Our closing song is Oseh Shalom. May the one who causes peace to be up in the high heavens cause peace to come down on us, all Israel, all the world. Oseh Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you again, Dan Nichols, for joining us this evening. And don't forget to join us in Oneg for song session to continue with the joy of Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.